the starting point to the next book that we'll do, Deep Learning with Python, second edition. So we will learn a lot of how we can do data analysis, the basic of NumPy, Pandas, and how we can wrangle data. Then as soon as we finish this book, then we can move on into deep learning with Python, which is the easiest way to deep learning using Keras framework. So today we'll do preliminary of this book, which is the discuss how we can do installations and stuff and other stuff that involved in the book. So you can see in the preliminary, the book is called Python for data analysis, but actually the book discuss more, not only Python for data analysis, but the book also discuss general concept of programming in Python. And as you can see, the author said, I will recommend this book as foundation for general Python data wrangling. So when we say Python data wrangling, we mean Python data analysis, how you can do work with data, how you can analyze data. And when you are comfortable with general Python data wrangling, and then you are well prepared to move on to more advanced resources. So what we want to move on is the deep learning stuff. So we want to build our foundation here. And why Python? Python has been used widely, not only for scientific computation, but Python is now being used for even general software development. So you see Python, you do machine learning, deep learning, data analysis, data science, but Python is not only being done for that, but also is being used in general software stuff. And also Python, you can see you can do solving two language problem, you can do research, and also you can build production system. But also, what kind of data are we going to do? So we call this book Python for data analysis. So does that mean we can work on any data to do the analysis? No. One of the most widely used data we're going to use is called structured data. So for example, you can see this data is unstructured, and this data is called structured. What we mean by structured here, you can see that the data is like arranged in some kind of rectangular fashion, right? In structured way. This is called structured data. So look at this one here. This is also unstructured. Structured. You can see this is different kind of unstructured, but here is structured. This is also another example of unstructured data. So given text or anything, this is unstructured, but this is semi-structured because it's structured in some kind of HTML, but this is called structured data. So mostly, when you be doing data analysis and data wrangling, your data will most likely be in this format, structured data. So that's the kind of data we'll be working on. So even if your data is in this format, unstructured, you need to transform your data to structured format so that you can do data analysis with Python. So even your data is somehow in semi-structured, sometimes you need to turn your data in structured format to do any kind of data analysis stuff. So that is what we meant by data, structured data. So you just put in your mind that whenever we want to work on data analysis, we work on structured data. However, if you are given unstructured data, you need to transform that to structured format. Now, in the preliminary section of this book, what they discussed, they said, okay, these are some of the essential Python libraries that we'll be using in this book. NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Ipython, Jupyter, SciPy, sklearn, and Start Model, right? So NumPy is a Python library that's used for scientific computing. For example, it can be used for general linear algebra stuff. It implements a lot of functions to do that. Pandas is also used for, it's a Python library that can be used for data structures and work with tabular data. So we'll see what we can use with Pandas. So, but these are Pandas. Matplotlib, as you can see, it's used for plotting two-dimensional data and visualization. So we will see how we can plot many stuff with Matplotlib. Ipython and Jupyter. So what is Ipython? So Basically, if you look at this one here, we have, if we want to run Python, we can run Python via command line we know. So let me show this stuff. Terminal. Okay, okay, so you see, if we want to run a Python stuff, what we can do is we can come over here and say, okay, Python, I can just type Python. Now, if I have Python only, I can tap enter, and now this will bring me into Python environment where we can use Python in it. This is taking long. Yeah, so you see this is Python environment. I see 1 + 1, 3 + 6. You see that this is Python, right? Python, what do you call it? Python compiler, right? So you can do stuff with that. But we have what is called Ipython, which is actually interactive Python, which is extension of Python. So when you type Ipython here, you can, oh no, okay, oh, so here I'm still inside the Python. I need to go outside. So for me to go, I can use Control-D or exit. That will take me outside of the Python. Control-D or yeah, or type exit. So now if I type Ipython here, this will take me to somewhere also again that I can use to actually run my Python stuff. But this is called enhanced Python. So you can see here when I say 1 + 1, and also from the name, you can see an enhanced interactive Python. So this means that this is an enhanced version for normal Python. Can you see that? So it's interactive in the sense that you can do a lot of other things, and this you can see is different. Here you have something in, you have output. So whatsoever you do here, you will have in and output. So Ipython is now used more generally more than using the Python compiler like this. So that is what we mean by Ipython. So Ipython system can now be both. Ipython is now being used as a kernel for Jupyter. So you see this, what we are working on is called Jupyter, right? It's Jupyter. But you need to select the kernel. You need to specify the kernel in which you want to run your Jupyter. So Jupyter Notebook, at the back, they are using Ipython at the kernel. Yeah, so Jupyter Notebook, they are using Ipython at the kernel. So you don't need to know the details of that. But if you look at this one here, you see, select the environment. This is an environment, but they are using the Ipython also as the kernel. So that is what we mean by Ipython and Jupyter. So now most people use Jupyter because we can actually run an environment. We can use our analysis in Jupyter. We don't actually now quite often use Ipython here, and because it's not even friendly, but Jupyter is more friendly, right? So if you want to go out from Ipython, we can just tap exit like this, and we can say, okay, now you can see when we do that, now we are now under our command line. Now there are more other Python packages that we'll see. Sci-Fi, which is a collection of packages for doing foundational problem in scientific computing. We'll see that. And we have seen in our previous session, we have seen scikit-learn, right? Scikit-learn can be used to use machine learning. And there is stat models also used for statistical stuff, which we'll see. But also we have what is called TensorFlow and PyTorch, this and Keras as well. So these are some, so you see scikit-learn is a Python package for doing machine learning, general purpose machine learning. But now we have more stuff for doing deep learning. So as we have scikit-learn for machine learning, then we have PyTorch, TensorFlow, Keras for doing deep learning. Yes, for doing Keras. These are some of the basic ones that we're working on. So we will probably be working with Keras. So these are some of a lot of stuff you should know that we'll be using. So this chapter, as I said, is just introducing what we'll be using. Now, before we start doing anything in this chapter, we need to install the required packages we need to work on so that we will have similars working with the book. Now, the first thing we should know is that we can have many different ways to install packages. So all these packages you see, when you install Python, they don't come built in with Python. Yes, all these packages, they don't come built in with Python. So what can we do? What we can do basically is just we need to try to install all the package we can work on so that we don't have any issue. Now, how can we install packages in Python? So there are many ways. One way to have a basic packages we can use is basically to install whether Anaconda or Panda or some stuff like that. They can come battery included. When I say battery included, I mean they can come with many packages that we can use. So basically there are pip and Conda that can be used to install Python packages, but we'll advise people just to use Conda because Conda is more powerful than pip because Conda is packaging tool and installer. While you can see pip is only installer. You can use pip to install packages, but Conda, you can do a lot more with Conda. So if you read that, there is some stuff here I put, you can read more about Conda and pip, the differences. But you can see here that Conda you can use to create Python environment, but with pip, you cannot create Python environment. You can use either virtual environment and VM, and there are a lot of stuff can require compilers while on it. And one good thing with also Conda is that you can install any packages from C, R, but pip you can only install stuff with deal with only Python packages. So pip deal with so you see if you are working with anything you need to use something that is widely used for many different stuff, right? And also packages. So if we go here, PyP. So if we want to install package using pip, then all the packages that we can install using pip are from here. Python, are from here, what we call Python packages, package index. So everything is here. If you install package using pip, then it is installing from this website, right? So you can see here many packages. How many? Like you can see, we have 3 million something like this release. So you can look at project here, different kind of. If we want to see natural language processing, you can see many packages. Maybe for English, let me select English or English. Let's select that. So you can see these are some of the stuff that packages for English that you can do. So what in essence, these are where these packages are resided. But if you are installing using Conda, then it means you are not installing packages hosted at PyPy, right? You are not installing. So if you are using Conda, then you are using Anaconda Cloud. So let's see, Anaconda Cloud, for example. So if we go to Anaconda package repository, for example, let's go directly. So you see here, this is the package repository. So you can search packages here. So whenever you are using Conda to install package, you are installing from this Conda package repository. So these are some of the stuff you should know that whenever you are using either pip or Conda. Now, we will be using Conda. If you don't have Conda, you can install it. Just come here. You can just download Conda, right? If you go to anaconda.com, you can download whether Anaconda or whatsoever, but you can also install mini Conda, which is light version of Conda, because Conda has a lot of other stuff included, but we can install mini Conda. So it's the same thing. When you install mini Conda, you'll have Conda available to do installation. Right, so you can see you can install Miniconda, you can download Miniconda from here. So you can do two things. You can install either Anaconda or Miniconda, and you will have a lot of stuff installed. So when you install Anaconda or Miniconda, then automatically you have access to Conda environment. So that is what we can do with that. Now, after we install Conda, I believe we all have Conda here, right? So after we install Conda, what you need to do is you need to specify, configure that that you're gonna use Conda as your basic, installer. So you need to run this stuff. So you can say this one, Conda. I can come over here. I type here, and so what this is telling us is that we want to use Conda. You can see Conda already in channels, and you can run this one, the next one, so it will put it at the priority. So whenever you want to do installation, so Conda will be the default to your installation manager. So the first thing we need to do is to download Anaconda or Miniconda, right? As we have seen here, this one or this one, Miniconda here. And when we install this, then the next thing is to make your Conda to be the primary channel for doing installation. Now, after we do that, then the next thing is we discuss the notion of what is called environment, Python environment. So when you install Python in your computer, you may have different projects that you want to work on. You may be working on web development, you may be working on maybe data science project, you may be working on one deep learning project. So when you have working on different Python environment, it means you will have different kind of complexity and incompatibility of different Python package. And also we know that Python, we have different kind of, some program may run on Python 3 point, some version and some on another version. So what is actually recommended is that you create environment for project you are working on. So this means that there is a way to create a Python environment. So an environment is just a secluded environment or house in your computer that you install packages for a particular purpose. Now, how can you do that? So this is the way you do that. You say Conda, this is the command, create, then you put this, then this is the name of the environment you want to create. And now you specify the, you install everything that you want to work on. So let's take this one. You see here, I want to, for example, create a Python environment called that. I can now paste this one. So you see here, it means this is a command Conda, create. Now you put this, and now here Python data book, this is the name of the environment you want to work on. This is after the name of the environment you create, everything comes is something that will be automatically installed in that environment. So here now I'm installing Python 3.8, but I can install Python 3.9. You can also install other things. So if I want to install Pandas, how can I do that? If I want to install Pandas in this environment, who can help us? Falalu. If we want to install Pandas in this environment, how can we do that? Who can help us? Now you see here we are installing Python 3.9, but we want to install Pandas again. How can we do that? Noor. Hello, can you hear me all?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, how can we install now Pandas, for example, in the same environment we are creating now?
Okay. I think it's just pip Pandas, right? Pip install Pandas. Sorry.
Okay. But remember here, we are not working with pip, but we are working with what is called Conda. So before you do installation, as I said, we need to create an environment where we'll install everything inside. So here I'm installing, creating an environment called Python data book, but you can create the environment, the name whatsoever you need. So for example, if here, I can say, okay, the name of my environment is Ariwa, for example, Ariwa DS. So this is the name of my environment. And everything that comes after, it means I'm installing that thing inside the environment. So when I type enter, so this means that this Conda create Ariwa DS Python 3.9 is in creating an environment for Ariwa DS and installing Python 3.9 inside the environment. So when you create the environment, then you can install everything you want to work on inside that environment. But remember, for you to create the environment, you must have internet here when you are installing. You all know that now here, because I'm installing Python 3.9 inside the environment, I must have connection to internet so that it can install the environment. But when you are just creating environment without installation, for example, stuff like that, you don't need to have internet connection. So here we can see that it is actually installing Python, all right? This is taking time for me. Right. So, okay. Taking time. Okay, let me show, because I already have, let me cancel this. Yep. So, okay. So, you see here, I have environment called data science. So when I say, for example, Conda deactivate my environment. So you can see here, I have what is called base. This base, it means my own computer, everything I install will be in base. But I created an environment called data science where I'm working with everything. Like if I want to do something related to data science, I just install in data science. If you look at this one here, I have many environments. So you see deep learning, level studio, PyTorch, reinforcement learning, Spacey. So I have different environment. But now how can you create environment? That is the way I said it. So for you to create environment is to use this. Conda create this name of the environment, then you whatsoever. So now I have an environment. How can you, when you create environment, how can you activate it? So you say Conda activate, then you put the name of the environment you created already. When you, because I already created an environment from data science, I'm activating it. So when I say activate, now I'm activating the Conda environment. So you can see here, can you see data science here? It means now I'm now working on a single environment called data science. I will not be messing up with everything on my computer. Everything now I work on will be on this data science environment. So now I can install everything. So I can say, for example, if I want to install NumPy, I can say Conda install Pandas. So you see here, Noor, you didn't say pip install Pandas, but here we say Conda install Pandas. As I said, you can install Python packages with pip or Conda, but preferably we'll be working with Conda. Conda has more advantage than pip. So you can see Conda install Pandas. So when I say this one, Conda install Pandas, then you see Conda will install Pandas inside my environment that is called data science, right? So Conda will install Pandas inside a data science environment. So this is some of the things we should know is that before we move on into the book, that we'll be using Conda for everything, for installation, for whatsoever, right? So any question before we move on? Any question? Yes.
Yes, it may happen that you might have chosen a wrong Python version.
What do you say?
and saying you might have installed wrong version of Python. So is it possible to change the version of the Python that you have already installed?
Okay. You are asking that one may have installed wrong version of Python, right, in the environment?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So Palalu is asking, assume that now we install, I don't know why this installation is taking time on here. I don't know. Maybe I can share my terminal, maybe not in VS Code. Yeah. So Palalu is asking, assume we install a Python environment. We create a new environment, and we have Python 3.9 or Python 3.5. Can we, is it possible to change the Python Python version? Actually, I don't know. I have not even tried to do that. But we can try to see here. Right, we can try that. Just Google change Python. Python version Quanda. So let's see, change Python version in Quanda. So changing your Python version with Anaconda. So yeah, this is something that people already asked, but I've not come across it before, but we can see now. So activate the relevant environment, Conda, my environment, Conda. Okay, so it's just as simple. So what you need to do is when you have the environment, when you have an environment, for example, data science, and you already install Python 3.99, you can see data science Python 3.99, right? Because you can have several version of Python. So the reason why we have this is that some packages will work on only some version of Python. Some packages will work on Python version 2. So you see, you cannot install many Python version on your computer because your computer will be like, you can have different Python. So let me show you something, some funny stuff. Python version issues problem. Let me show you what will happen if we just install all the Python in our computer. Yeah, something like this. So can you see this? So you can see here, there will be a lot of issues if you don't create an environment in Python. For example, now here you can see you can install different ways, like you can have Homebrew, Anaconda, whatsoever. So when you install Python, Python in not an environment, you will mess up with the Python environment. So this is a good read. I will even share with you. I read it sometimes. You can read it and learn the issues, the problem why you need to create Python environment. You will mess up your computer. You can see that with different version 2.7, 2.3.6, 2.6, whatsoever, and it becomes difficult for you to manage your computer, right? So when you read that, you can see there is a lot of stuff. So in fact, in people that using, there are a lot of ways to install Python. Brew is used to install Python for installation. Apt-get in Brew in Mac, Apt-get in Linux, and many other. All these are called package managers. All these are called Python package managers, right? So let me go back to, if you read this one, you will see why it is an issue not work on environment, right? So yeah, so you see here now, oh yeah, so let me come back to Falalu question. So assume inside this my environment for data science, I already installed Python 2 now. The question is, can I upgrade Python 2 to Python 3? Yes. So how can we do that? So the basic question is just to, as we have seen here, is just activate your environment. Falalu, this is the answer. Activate your environment and just install that new Python, yes, that you want. That will actually install the, So this is something that you can check. Let me share it. Yeah. So you see here now, basically I'm installing Pandas and it is downloading Pandas inside the my package data science. But I already have Pandas. Let me abort this process and yeah. So that is actually what you can do. But now you can have situation whereby you want to actually
calendar reminder.
You want to actually install package using pip. Now, it is recommended we should always use Quanda to install packages. Always let's be using Quandas to install packages. But if in some ways the Quanda environment, as I said before, that when you are using pip, then you are installing packages from where? Py, right? When you are installing packages using pip, then you are installing Python packages from this place. But when you are installing using Quanda, you are installing from Quanda place, right? But sometimes when you try to install using Quanda, the package may not be available in Quanda cloud. It's not available in this repository in Quanda. So you can go and use Python. It may be available here. So what we are saying here is that while you can use both Quanda and pip to install package, you should avoid updating package originally installed with Quanda using pip. So this is an issue. If you install package using Quanda, then update that package using Quanda. So how can you avoid this problem? Just stick with Quanda. I'm just telling you that Quanda is more stuff than pip. So if you have been using pip, just install your Quanda, start using Quanda. Quanda is more versatile than pip. Quanda is both package manager and also an installer. You can create environment and stuff like that. So yeah, any question before we continue? So, but now we introduce Quanda. You can do a lot of stuff with Quanda. Okay, question? Any question? Any question? Okay, right. So we can do a lot of stuff with Quanda. For example, now, as I said, if I want to deactivate this environment, what I can do is this. I can say Quanda deactivate. So when I deactivate this, it means I am no longer inside this environment. But I can also Quanda. What about Quanda if I want to see stuff? Okay, let me say Quanda activate data science. Now, if I want to see stuff installed inside the Quanda data science, if I Quanda list, who can tell us what this does? Quanda list, what this will do? Who can give us? Who can tell us? Falalu, do you know what Quanda list does?
Yes, doctor.
What it does?
It means it's just like it means
Okay.
all the content.
All right. Okay. So Quanda list, like it will tell you everything that is inside data science environment. What I mean by everything is that the packages that we install and everything, but this one is huge. I have a lot of stuff installed. But what the point I want to derive here is that it is difficult for somebody to remember all command for Quanda or all command for other stuff. So I want to introduce you to something called TLDR. So for example, you can create environment, you can delete environment, right? And in fact, you can do many things. So let me show you something like this that can help you to do that. So I have something in my, I can say TLDR Quanda. When I say TLDR Quanda, this one, what it will do, it will basically show me available commands for Conda, because it's difficult for you sometimes to remember. So you can see here, when I do TLDR Conda, it will shows me some stuff that I can do with Conda. Number one, Conda info environment. It can, when you want to list how many environments do you have in your computer, how many environments do you have? You understand? So this means that when I use that, I can use this to see how many environments I have in my computer. So where this is going? Oh, okay. So here you can see here I say Conda info this. So what will give us here is it will list all the available environment I have on this computer that I created. I don't know why my computer is so slow here. Okay, yeah. So you can see these are some of the environment. I have deep learning, I have data science, I have reinforcement learning, I have data science, a house environment, a house annotation, level studio, Python reticulate, Python for data science, PyTorch, Python deep learning. Can you see I have many environments? So these are some of the things. So, but it's difficult, as I said, to remember all this command, right? So if you want to see Conda, all the environment you have, how can you do that? So this is something that I said is like a shortcut that allows you to see command for a particular stuff. So here you can see Conda deactivate. So if I have here, I have inside my data science, I can use Conda deactivate now to deactivate Conda. Can you see that? Can you see now I'm no longer inside the data science environment, right? But also you can see how can you create environment. So you can see, okay, if you forget, but with time, all this will be in your memory. So if I want to create environment, okay, Conda create, you put the name, then the name of the environment, the Python version you want, and maybe other stuff that you want to install inside the package. So here I want to create a Python environment called my name, the Python, the environment. Okay, let me do that. So here, if I want to create environment Conda, I say create. Can you see that? Then I can use this name. I put the name of the environment, Ariwa. Let's say we call the environment Palalu. Falalu. Then the name of the environment is Falalu, and we can say, okay, which Python version do we want to use here? We can say, okay, we want to use Python. Because sometimes when you create an environment, it is good at the time you create to install the Python version you want. At most, install Python version you want in that environment, but you can come back and install other packages, but at least install though you can create the environment without installing any package, but it's quite better to just install the environment, the Python. So you can see here, we are creating a package called Palalu, and now we are installing Python in it. If I want to install NumPy to matplotlib, I can just type matplotlib without comma or whatsoever. Then I can type enter. So now this will create an environment called Palalu with Python 3.10, Python 10, or Python 3.10 installed in that environment called Palalu, right? So this is something that we should know now. But you don't have, now you don't have this way that I did to create this. Now you need to go to this. Let me show you how to install this this stuff. So when we come here, we can say, okay, TLDR GitHub. So for you to install this, so you can see this. What is this TLDR? So this TLDR is basically a cheat sheet. Collaborative cheat sheet for console command. So for console command, this is a cheat sheet for console command. You can see that because when we say cheat sheet, it's something that you don't need to remember always in your mind. You can just, So when you install it, for example, you want to do tar, which is you to untar stuff, you can, okay, this is the command, how to write the command. Thus you can just copy and go and paste it. So for me, because my memory is so forgettable, I just forget everything. So I just use this stuff. So how can you install it in your computer? For now, you don't have it in your computer. So what you can do is you can use this pip install Yep, you can install it using pip. Yep. So you can see this one. This is an institution. I don't know if that is Conda. This you can install it in Conda, but I didn't see that. I saw that they didn't have the Conda stuff. So you can install it with pip. So you can say pip3 install TDLR. Now this will be installed in your command line. So remember that. Yeah. So what you can do here is to come to your command line and say, okay, let me see this. Let me see. Okay, show me new command line. All right. Terminal. Okay, so this one you can see is still installing. Can you see that? It's installing. I say no, maybe Ivana saying upgrading. I say no. Okay, so you can see now it create the environment called Falalu. Yep. So now we create environment. So now I can say Conda activate Falalu. Oh, put an existing Bergamo search. So I didn't create the environment, I think, correctly because here some proceed let's no. It means I didn't create the environment. So, but you just get the idea, right? This is how to do that. So if you want to install that stuff, what you need to do is come here and say pip pip3 what is it the command? Install TDL, install like this. Can you see that? So when you install this, this will install that thing that you can find command for other stuff that you can do. I didn't write correctly. So, right. So this will install this stuff, but I already have it. I don't need to install it. I just cut it. So any question before we continue? Any question? So you can try to, so for example, this TDR, so if I'm using terminal and I forget how to copy something in terminal, I can say TDR copy. Can you see that copy command? Then I can say, okay, show me. So this will show you the command. Oh God. Oh, I forget. TDR CP. CP means copy. I put copy. This is your command to copy from terminal. So if you don't know how to copy, for example, you see like there is a way to copy a file. So for just to copy a file, for example, here you copy to another location, you can CP, you say copy, this is where the location of the original file, and now this is the destination. Okay, you just remember the command how to do that. But also maybe you can copy a folder. So for us to copy a folder, you say CP -R, this one, and now you put the from where the folder is to the destination folder. So you see, it's not easy to remember all this command, right? So this approach allows you to quickly remember to see how you can actually see everything from the terminal. All right, so any question before we continue? Any question? Any question? Right. So, and remember all these things you can do it in your terminal. So the book basically has 10 chapters. So now we cover like how we can do everything. So if I want to install package inside, I can activate data science. If I activate my package data science, I activate it. I want to install package. All I can do is Conda install whatsoever sklan. Can you see that when I say Conda install sklan, this will install sklan for me inside my package data science. When I say Conda whatsoever, so just know for you to do that, you must activate your environment. Conda activate data science. Now I install data science. Now you can do it first. But when I want to deactivate it, I can say Conda deactivate. When I say Conda deactivate, it automatically deactivate data science environment. So I can enter into another environment maybe, but there are a lot of other stuff. So now that is about Conda, and you should be using Conda from now on than PIP. Do you agree with me that Conda, you'll be using Conda, or you should continue with your PIP? Falalu, are you using before Conda or PIP?
I'm using both.
Okay, yeah. So we should be. So the book actually has 10 chapters. The first chapters are basically the foundation for Python. Chapter 2 and 3, just a reminder of shows some of the stuff we can do with Python. We can go with them fast, but we will see other chapter, which is chapter 4 NumPy, chapter 5 Pandas, up to chapter 10, which is basically data aggregation and grouping. So we see basically each session, we will see one chapter. But for chapter 2 and 3, tomorrow we'll do chapter 2 and 3. And because these chapters are basically a revision of our Python, we may run faster in them, but we'll see what will happen. So also import convention. So for the whole through the book, this is how they do import. NumPy as NP, you always mean NP means NumPy. Import this as PLT, matplotlib, import pandas as PD, import CBOS as NS, import status mode. So this is how they do importing, rather than using, for example, import everything from the package, but this is what they will be doing. So we will see how they, so this is basically the introduction about the book, the prerequisite. Let us all install everything to get started with the book. What you need to do install, we all have Python, we all have Pandas and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's what we need to do. So I urge all of us to create an environment called PyDataBook. Yes, create an environment using Conda called PyDataBook. Conda create PyDataBook Python 3.8 and now activate it. So whatever we will be doing after you activate it, now install these packages: Pandas, Jupyter, Matplotlib. So install this stuff. So you can see Conda. So whenever after you install, you create PyDataBook, you will see this in your computer. You are now inside PyDataBook, right? You see this one. Yes. So Falalu is asking, can we copy package from one environment to another without need to reinstall them? Exactly. Yeah. So not only copy, you can even create what we call YAML, create a requirement environment. So you can copy everything inside this environment. So for example, here, if I have my environment called data science, and I can create everything, I can copy everything using requirement environment, and now I can send it. So for example, me and Falalu are writing a program, and when I write the program, I install separate packages on my computer. When I send the program to Falalu, the program may not run on his computer because some packages are not available. He did not install some packages when I. So to do that, I can copy all the packages inside my environment and create what we call requirement environment. We'll see that. Yeah. So we will create what we call requirement environment. So Conda requirement. Yeah, so we could create what we call requirement environment, managing environment. So this is something that under what we call managing environment. So you see, look at, let me share this one. This is actually something good. So you see here, there are a lot of stuff managing environment you want to environment. So this is called sharing environment. So let me go here. So Falalu, if you want to share your environment, what you need to do is you need to create what we call environment.yaml, YML file, right? And what you can do is basically go into an environment like this, and now do this Conda environment export. Then you do have this. Then every packages you install inside this my environment will now be stored here. Now, once you send it to another person, what you can do, yeah, you can see email or copy the exported YAML to other person. Now, when you email to the other person, now he can actually install from the environment file. Yeah, so that is how you can do that. Yeah, so restoring environment. Yep, so let me share this one. There are a lot of other stuff. We may not go through the deep, but if there is time, I think we can do that. So you can see here, these are a lot of stuff you can do with Conda, creating environment. Let me go through them quickly so that we can have an idea. So for you to create an environment with Conda, we already saw that, right? Conda create, you put this argument, then you name of the environment. This is how we create a Conda environment, right? So this is how we create Conda environment. When Conda asks you to proceed, type Y. Yes. Remember the other time, Conda asked me to proceed, I put no, and it does not create the environment. So when you create, we want to create environment. When you type Conda create this name of the environment, Conda will ask you this. Do you want to install these packages? Type Y, right? So it will install that. So that is that. And to create an environment with specific Python version, so this is Conda create this my env, can you see that? My m, can you see? The Python 3.6, right? Python 3.6. So what happened here, you see, here we don't actually have any Python version installed, right? So here we want to install a specific Python version, then you type the Python version. Now, to create an environment with specific package, you can see Conda create this my m sci-fi, means install sci-fi in it, right? Yeah, so to create an environment with specific version of package, yeah, there's something. So you can see there are many Conda create minus n my m Python, and Conda install minus my m all this. So this is some stuff you can do. Here, you basically, at the same time, you basically install your package SciPy and create the environment. But here you just create your environment with Python in it and now come install the SciPy package. So there are a lot of things, creating an environment from a file, which is why, okay, so now assume that here, somebody send you, now follow the question you asked for YAML, somebody send you this environment.yaml, which all the environment he works on. Now, how can you install it in your computer? So you use Conda m create this environment. Can you see that? So this will install all the packages that have been sent to you by the first person. Yeah. So this is something that, let me share this. So you can actually have this and go through it. A lot of stuff that you can do with that. Updating an environment. So how can you update your environment? So you see there are a lot of Conda m update. So you can see there are a lot of stuff you can do to actually do that. Building identical and Conda environment, building in. So now if you want to build identical Conda environment, you can do that. Activating an environment, which we have already seen, Conda activate my m, right? Conda init, when you want to deactivate environment, you use the command Conda deactivate. But if you find this stuff, we have something like the Conda cheat sheet as well. So here you see many stuff. Yeah, so you see this is Conda cheat sheet. It's very easy for you to go to reference. So yeah, so this is Conda cheat sheet. So what it is, so this is basically the command. So update Conda current environment, Conda update Conda. Install package including Conda. In Conda install name of the package. Can you see that? Update any install program, Conda update package name. So using environment, how can you? So this is command basics using environment. How can you create environment? You can see create an environment, activate environment. On Windows, you say activate the name of the environment. But this is all. Now you can use name of the environment. Before we are using source activate, but now you can just use Conda activate the name of the environment, right? So Conda list, environment list everything that list all the environment you have, make exact copy of the environment. So you can see this is one make exact copy environment colon. List all packages and version installed in the file. List the history. So there are a lot of stuff. Save environment to text file. You can do this. Finding Conda package. There are a lot of stuff. Installing and updating package. So if you want to install this one, Conda update. If you want to update a package, Conda update scikit-learn. It means you are updating scikit-learn. Managing multiple environments. So you see there are a lot of other stuff, baseline version whatsoever. So yeah, so these are some of the stuff that you don't need to have them by heart now to learn them, but they will become natural as you go on. I don't know all this one by heart. I would not bother myself to understand them. But when I want to use everything, I just Google or I just use my TDLR stuff, TLDR, Conda. Then this one will just give me the commands to do. And this one doesn't need internet connection, because when you install it, it is everywhere. So I can just use this and refer to my command to do the stuff. Yeah, any question? And don't forget, this is the book, our book. So now today we have seen the preliminary, how to do the installation, how we install everything we need. Tomorrow, probably we'll start doing Python language basic and built-in Python. So we may see chapter 2 all tomorrow if we manage to finish it, because this is Python basic, we all know it, we can run fast and maybe do chapter 2 and 3. But if we cannot do that, we can just use chapter 2. So tomorrow we'll be able to see how we can use a lot of stuff in Jupyter, because we will be using Jupyter extensively. So we'll learn how to use Jupyter effectively, how to do a lot of stuff in Jupyter. Yeah. Any question? Yeah, any question? Okay, so I think today is not something, of course, that it is technical. So today, what I want you all to do is please install Conda, install this TDL way to do that, and now create a package environment in your computer. Maybe you can say, okay, maybe you can create for me, what I find useful, I just create an environment called data science. So when I create this environment, yeah, I do all my stuff that I needed here. Yeah. Okay. Any question? And also remember here that if you are using VS Code, if you don't see the environment here, it means you are using your Python, you are using your computer-based environment, doing everything, which is not good. So create an environment